What's up, everybody? So here's the video that I've been talking about for the last two videos. And what you see before you is the HP Envy 1414, circa 2012. Let's tear it down. Alright, so I bought this computer brand new in 2012. It had the latest and greatest in it, and as you might suspect, in 2019 it's not the latest and greatest anymore, not by a long shot, but it's all I've got. Now, I've been watching a lot of tech videos and having Durbauer dreams on a Walmart budget, but the least I can do is tear this old girl apart and clean it. Now, I took it down about 6 months ago to install a new graphics card in it, which I went with the Sapphire Nitro RX 570. Really wonderful card. Unfortunately, power supply doesn't have the horsepower to push it whenever it's running under full load, so I have to kind of moderate what I do. Now, this particular model came with the FX 6120 Bulldozer processor, which is AMD, and a lot of you just cringed. I heard you. But this computer has done me a lot of good for a long time, and I haven't cleaned it as well as I should have. And just recently I realized, after watching some tech YouTubers like Linus and Jay's 2 Cents, that the front panel is probably not as hard to get off as what it seemed. But this particular model has only one screw, a thumb screw for that matter, and it's not captive, so if you have one of these and you decide to take it out, this little guy will fall out on you. Before we get too much farther, some basic tools. Screwdrivers. I've got some zip ties, some small zip ties for kind of redoing the cable management. I can't get to the back of this motherboard or the tray, so I kind of have to do what I can with what I've got, and it's rough in there. Side cutters for cutting off the ends of the zip ties, and a paintbrush. Why a paintbrush? To brush dust away. So now, this is gonna be rough. Ready? So now you've seen that. It's pretty bad, but not as bad as it was when I tore it down. So I have mentioned this in a vlog, but I used to work on the river. I was gone 6 months out of the year. Oh my, that's a winner, look at that. Yeah. So I was gone 6 months out of the year and really busy, and I didn't really have time to take care of things like I probably should have. But 28 days at home is not a whole lot. So I would come home and use the computer, and then I'd go back on the boat, and well, so as you can tell, it really didn't fare so well with not having regular cleaning, but I'm trying to get better about that. So as a general guideline, from what I understand, for systems that are in heavy traffic environments, if you have carpet, if you have pets, if you smoke, I smoke, so that's a contributing factor. If you live in an older house or a brand new construction house that you're just moving into where there's a lot of dust, all of that will collect inside your case. And over time, if you don't clean it out, it can cause problems. From what I understand, and I'm not an expert on this, feel free to call me an idiot and cite me a different source, but from what I understand, the dust has the potential to conduct static electricity, which can fry your components. So we're going to tear it down. I'm not going to take the cooler off, even though I should. This thermal paste underneath the cooler is, well, it's 8 years old, and thermal paste can get hard and just go bad over time. But I'm not having any really bad cooling issues right now. So for right now, I'm going to leave the cooler on. But what I am going to do is I'm going to take this 80mm cooler fan off and clean the fins, which is why I have the paintbrush. And I think maybe this bearing is trying to go out on this fan, because when it ramps up, it's got to whine. Now, I could go to Best Buy and get a couple of 80mm fans for about $4 a piece. I don't have the extra $4 to spend, so what I'm going to do is clean it the best I can, and hopefully from what I'm going to show you here, you can do the same thing. Now, something else that I'm going to do, just so I don't risk sending power back through the the fan headers, I'm going to disconnect them so that they don't back charge into the system and damage the components. I'm also going to take the graphics card out. I'm going to clean it real well. It hasn't had a chance to build up anything in the fins in the heatsink, but I'd rather it not get that chance, so I'm going to clean it out. And I don't have any canned air, and I'm going to be using an air compressor. Now, a lot of you just screamed at me. I don't have any canned air. I can't afford canned air. But what I do have is an air water separator on my air compressor. So that's what I'm going to be using. Now, granted, I know that's not 100% foolproof, but it's what I have. And a lot of you at home, you may not have the ability to run out and buy canned air. Maybe you don't have anywhere that sells it, which I think Walmart sells it, but that's not the point. So we're going to take it down. I'm going to do a little bit of cable management and a whole lot of cleaning. Well, we'll just go for a close in here before I start cleaning it. So you can see here we have some venting here in the front and some mount holes. An 80mm fan on the CPU cooler, 80mm fan for exhaust on the case, and then of course there's the power supply fan. Well, what is interesting to me is you've got one vent on the back behind the motherboard, and then the air coming into the front of the case comes through these vents right here, and it's extremely restrictive. So, and then there's the side panel here that only has 2 vents in it. So as you might expect, this case is absolutely wretched for airflow. But I'm gonna go ahead and tear it down and we're gonna get started cleaning. I'm not gonna take the RAM out because I've just had it out checking it. So I know all of that's fine, but like I said, I'm gonna take off this CPU cooler here, or not the cooler, but the fan, and I'm gonna take this fan out, disconnect them, and get some cleaning done. Also, this case came with factory sleeve cables, so that was kind of nice. Anyway, here we go. Alright, so, is it perfect? No. By no means is it perfect. But, as you can see, I've pulled these cables out of the way and tied them up so that what air does get through these slats here actually gets into the case. This case has a pretty substantial negative pressure element. So these fans need all the help they can get, and that will go a long way to keeping air in this case. As you can see, the fans here on the graphics card do turn without impedance from the wires above. That's because I've pulled them back and tied them as such, which of course they didn't interfere before, but you can see they do spin freely, or they would if they were under power. So, you know, yeah, it's not perfect, but it's a lot cleaner than what it was. Alright, so as I said, it's not perfect. I'm just doing the best I can with what I got, like a whole bunch of people out there. So if you have a system that you haven't cracked open in a while, maybe it's time. And a lot of times they're not as hard to crack open as you think. Just like I was wrong about this faceplate, thinking it was going to be hard to take off. It really wasn't. It was 3 tabs. But definitely take care of your system. This is an area where I was falling behind, and now I'm finally catching up. So hopefully she'll be more temperature efficient, and I can get some more time out of this rig, because a new build is not in the cards for me right now, just like a lot of you. So at least try and take care of what you've got. But it's time to get all reliable and my refinished desk back to the house and get everything set up so I can edit this video. But in the meantime, guys, keep doing the things you love, keep playing the games you love. We'll see you next time.